Hey there, CS210 students, and welcome to our class. My name is Matt Parker, and I'll be your instructor for programming languages this term. I assume that most of you are very familiar with Brightspace. If not, real quick, we will use Brightspace for all of our course learning materials. Underneath course menu, you're going to see announcements. I will post a weekly announcement as well as other announcements throughout the week. You definitely want to make sure that you pay attention to the announcements. All of your course learning materials are in the learning module, so you'll access those each week. A link to the discussions and the assignments, but mainly you're going to be using the learning modules. But most importantly, make sure that you subscribe to the announcements. Take a look at them because I will go through lots of things that you need to know throughout the term through those. So let's go ahead and just jump right into the announcements. So if you scroll down, the introduction of my instructor. It was posted prior to our term starting. So real quick, I'll just kind of run a little bit about myself. Formal name is Matthew, but nobody calls me Matthew. I go by MP in everything that I sign for our class. Feel free to just address me as MP or Parker. Um, I do have my email address there. I utilize Skype for any kind of synchronous communication. I know that they've got Microsoft Teams supposed to be set up for us, but every time I try to get it to work with Southern New Hampshire, it just doesn't quite work. But Skype always works, so I utilize that. I do have my LinkedIn and GitHub and Bitbucket accounts linked there, so if you ever want to kind of take a peek at some things I'm doing on the side, you can go ahead and do that. I am on Eastern Daylight Time, so I am typically available. It says Tuesdays through Thursdays after 5 p.m., but now that it's kind of getting close to summer, it's just about any day after 5 p.m., and then weekends almost any time. So, a little bit about myself. So, how did I get here? So, my journey to computer science has been a little bit untraditional, maybe like some of you. In my first career, I was actually a high school math teacher. And in my second to last year teaching, I decided I would learn computer science to teach at the high school level. Well, after about a year of teaching at the high school level, I was fortunate enough to get offered a full-time teaching job with Purdue University Fort Wayne, where I taught computer science there for 4 years. In 2018, I decided to completely change careers and then become a software engineer. So I hope to bring some special insight to your learning as I am currently in industry working as a software developer. So I work for Booz Allen Hamilton. It is a large conglomerate company. We focus primarily on civil government contract work, but we also have some defense work and some other work as well. I work on a project that is revitalizing a system for the Veterans Administration or the VA. So I'm really fortunate that I get to do meaningful work for great people. Prior to my time at Booz Allen, I worked at Raytheon Technologies, a defense contractor. You can kind of see I was a jack of all trades, worked on multiple projects, used multiple programming languages, one of them being C++. Um, Throughout my career, I've kind of been the jack of all trades, so that's a good thing to be. On the side, I do create software for distance runners under the name EasyVO2 Training. I've got an Android app and a website and some things that kind of support it. I do have a bachelor's degree in math education from my first career, so I did that at Indiana State University, so go Sycamores. I have a master's degree in education from my first career, and then I have a master's degree in information security through Fort Hays State from my second go around. So about our course, so at this point you should have taken a Python course, a Java course, and so you should be able to write code now. I'm expecting you to be able to write code from scratch. Now it's a matter of can you learn C++ to add to your tool set. Um, you will be using Visual Studio, so Visual Studio, not VS Code, and then zyBooks for all of your projects and assignments. Most of you should be familiar with zyBooks from your previous courses. We go through them a little bit faster than the previous courses. It's not quite as fast. They have changed the curriculum. It's slowed down a little bit. For Visual Studio, the preferred usage is installing on your own machine. I know that the Aporto, the online tool, sometimes isn't the best. It kind of lags. downloading projects and sharing it is pretty difficult. So I highly encourage you to download and install Visual Studio on your own machine. If you're using a Mac, then that will not be possible. You'll have to use the Aporto, or if you can get access to a different machine. I do have an announcement in the posted for installing and setting up the IDE. It'll be on the YouTube. I typically post at least one YouTube recording. It's actually going to be a lot for each module sometimes. In those recordings, I highlight the course content, giving you hints and helps for completing labs, assignments, and projects. Make sure you watch them. Budget the time, about an hour for the week, to just watch my recordings. I'm going to go through what you need to know, so make sure you get the time to watch those. You've got questions. So most computer science students, software engineers are very reluctant to get help. I find that if you're working on something for, say, an hour or more, you probably need to stop, ask questions, get help. So you could ask those in the general questions discussion forum, or you can send me an email. You'll get a response back to me from me same day within a couple hours. Don't forget, you also have 24/7 online tutoring that you could also get help from. Sometimes I hear it's kind of hit or miss, so I just highly recommend you just send me the question. You'll get the answer that you need very quickly. Private communications, so if you have something of a personal nature, things like OAC modifications, grading, feedback, late work, etc., don't post those in the general discussion forum. Send those to me by email. Again, I already talked about announcements. You'll see those always posted. Make sure you adjust the notification settings to get a message when those are posted. Feel comfortable addressing me as Matt or MP. You don't need to call me Professor Parker. I don't have a PhD or a doctorate, so don't call me Dr. Parker. Similarly, let me know if you prefer a different name in your introductory post. A little bit about me outside of class. I do consider myself a normal person. I'm an avid runner, cyclist, golfer. When I say avid runner, I run. I can't run fast anymore. I'm to the point where I can't run fast anymore. But I did run the Boston Marathon a long time ago, one of my bucket list goals a long time ago. I broke 80 on a regulation golf course last summer. That was awesome. And then I've yet to cycle 100 miles. Maybe this year will be the year that it happens. Right now, it's been cold and wet and just windy here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So maybe the weather will break pretty soon so I can start putting some miles on the bike. Lastly, I have three great kids. They're 19, 18, and 11. My 19-year-old is a sophomore at college. Is a cross country and track runner. My 18-year-old is a power lifter, a junior in high school, and then I've got a fifth grader that's 11 that is a soccer player. I spent a lot of time traversing the state of Indiana going to their events. All right, so that's a little bit about me. Let's take a look at some other announcements that I have in here. So the next announcement I want to highlight is my cheating and plagiarism announcement. So do not cheat on your submitted assignments. I will catch you. Um, what does that mean? Cheating is submitting code partial or in its entirety that is found on Chegg, Course Hero, GitHub, Discord. Yes, I am on the Discord channel. Reddit. Yep, I know the Southern New Hampshire Reddits. So if you're seeing anything that's posted on these websites or just basically any website, do not submit that code. I know for sure on the Discord, people like to say, hey, here's my project, and they put it out there. Do not by any means submit that because I will end up giving you a 0 and you will get an academic integrity violation. You need to learn how to write the code on your own. So I will provide a template that you can follow. Now, you may be free to implement your own solution, but my past students have found the templates to be of great value. So use the template. Don't go to these websites and try to submit something last minute that you know for sure isn't your work, that you're just trying to pass on as your work so you can get a passing grade. Don't do that because it's only going to hurt your own education. You're not going to be able to learn the content of the course. Eventually, the lack of knowledge is going to result in poor performance in a future course. I've taught some of the 300 level courses. Some people aren't able to write code, and they're in a 300 level course. So that means they didn't learn what they needed to in this kind of foundational class. Also, As somebody who has conducted job interviews, I can guarantee you that if you can't answer basic programming questions, things that you wouldn't have learned because of just submitting other people's work, it will show in a job interview, and eventually you might not be able to get a job. So don't cheat. If you find yourself struggling to complete the assignment by the initial due date, keep in mind that you can still turn it in the week for a 10% late penalty. I'd much rather you be successful completing the work and getting 90% of the points than to submit something that you find from one of these sites right here and then you end up getting a 0 for it. Okay, so reach out. I guarantee it, you will get the help that you need from me. You don't need to go to these websites. And if you have a Chegg or a Course Hero or any of those subscription accounts, I would encourage you right now, delete them because you don't even want to try to be tempted to go to those sites. And that Discord, I would just stay away from it. Most people are just complaining. That you'll get the help that you need from me. Okay. All right. Enough of my soapbox. Here's a typical announcement that you're going to see throughout the term. So I do go through kind of rehash of what we've done, where we're going to be going. You can see that I already have recordings up on my YouTube. So, I've already got the recordings posted. I got my fingers crossed. They have updated the curriculum. Some of these are a little bit older from when I first taught the class a year ago, but they should still be good. You can see that I also highlight what's due for the week. And then I do host virtual sessions twice a week, Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday mornings, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, it's on Skype, so download and install Skype because then we can use the screen share feature really, really easily. So if you have any questions throughout the week, I highly encourage you, attend one or both of these sessions and get your questions answered. Okay, last little thing in here. So I do have a code guidelines announcement posted in here. So as you start to write your C++ code, these code guidelines right here are what is going to be expected of you to follow for industry standard criteria. So make sure that you read through these, make sure you're familiar with these, so that way you can start implementing them right away in your assignments. Now, the only exceptions are when Zybooks says for the labs that you have to do something particular. Remember, I grade all the Zybooks labs, participation scores update themselves. So if there's something for the lab that it says you have to do it a certain way, then you have to follow those instructions, okay? But otherwise, these rules right here are in play. So make sure that you understand and apply those rules. All right, I look forward to a great term. I really enjoy teaching newer programmers. You're not new programmers because you've had a Python class, you've had a Java class. So I enjoy working with newer programmers, especially this course, and getting you to write really, really good code that eventually will enable you to get a software engineering position. All right, I'll talk to you next time.